I used to think I had time. Time to fix what I broke. Time to become who I wanted to be. Time to start later. That word litter was the softest pillow for a restless mind. I told myself there would always be another sunrise, another week, another chance. And then one morning, I looked in the mirror and realized I had become someone who only collected tomorrows and never lived a single today. It struck me how quietly life slips away. Not in years, but in moments. The unspoken word, the unread book, the dream delayed just one more day. I wondered what would happen if today was the last sunrise I ever saw. What would matter then? The endless scrolling? The grudges? The arguments that led nowhere? None of them. What mattered was what I had done with love, with truth, with courage. Everything else was noise I'd mistaken for music. That morning, I stepped outside before dawn. The world was silent, the kind of silence that feels sacred. The first line of light touched the horizon, and I thought, if this was my final sunrise, what would I give my energy to? The answer came like a whisper only to what truly matters. I began to see how much of my life was wasted on the unimportant. We chase comfort, not meaning. We chase applause, not authenticity. We say yes to things we hate and no to what our soul craves. And yet, the clock never slows. Every second spent on the trivial is stolen from the essential. I remembered reading how ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius began each day imagining their own death note morbidly, but to remind themselves to live fully. They called it memento mori, remember you must die. When you hold death close, life suddenly becomes sharper. You see beauty in the mundane. You realize how rare it is to breathe, to move, to speak, to begin again. So that day I decided to live as if it were my last. I canceled meaningless noise, the arguments in my head, the comparisons, the anxious need to please. I wrote 3 things that truly mattered: love, health, purposing, promised myself to protect them fiercely. That list became my compass. The first test came within hours. Someone cut me off in traffic, my old self would have exploded. Instead, I smiled, if this was my last sunrise. I thought, would I waste it on anger? The irritation dissolved like mist. Later, a friend called to complain about someone else. I listened, then gently steered the talk toward gratitude. I realized how easy it is to lose hours in gossip that leaves the soul empty. I wanted to fill mine with peace instead. As the day unfolded, I saw how simplicity is strength. We don't need more time, we need more focus. Even Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. He left behind unfinished works, but also timeless genius best he poured himself entirely into what mattered most. At noon, I took a walk without my phone. The sky was wide, the air smelled of rain. For once, I wasn't chasing thoughts, I was simply alive. Every sound was sharper birds, wind, distant laughter. That walk taught me more about mindfulness than any book. Presence isn't found in silence, it's found in attention. People often say they want motivation, but motivation is unreliable, like comes and goes like weather. Discipline is what carries you through the storm. I forced myself to do the small important things I used to postpone. Stretch, read, call my parents, write 1 honest page. Each act was tiny, but together they formed a quiet revolution. I thought of history's patient souls, Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in a cell yet never lost his dignity. He once said, I never lose. I either win or learn. Imagine the patience that requires to treat pain as a teacher instead of a thief. I realized patience isn't waiting, it's strength under control. That evening, as the sun began to fall, I felt an unfamiliar peace. I had done less but lived more. I understood that busyness isn't productivity, it's often just avoidance. We fill our days with noise so we don't have to. Face the quiet questions, am I proud of how I'm living? Would I be content if the curtain closed tonight? The truth is, life only becomes clear when you imagine losing it. The fear of finality burns away the fake. Suddenly you see what's real: a hand to hold, a craft to master, a moment of laughter, a promise kept. You begin to protect your time like Treasure because you finally understand it is. As twilight deepened, I wrote one sentence in my notebook. Force yourself to do what is important only. It became my rule. Whenever I felt distracted, I repeated it like prayer. I learned that forcing yourself doesn't mean being harsh, it means being loyal to your higher self when your lower self wants comfort. Every time I acted from that place, my confidence grew quietly, like roots beneath the soil. I began to plan less and live more deliberately. Each morning, I chose one meaningful task, learn something new, help someone sincerely, or move closer to a dream I'd neglected. I treated each day as a single coin. I could spend it on vanity or invest it in purpose. The choice was mine alone. Soon, people asked what had changed in me. I wasn't louder, richer, or more visible. I was simply present. I stopped chasing 10 things halfway and started doing one thing completely. That one thing each day became 1,000 steps toward peace. By nightfall, the sky turned the color of fire and wine. The last light touched my face, and I thought, if the sun never rose again, could I rest in peace with how I live today? For the first time, the answer was yes. I realized that every sunrise is borrowed. None are promised. And maybe that's not tragic, it's sacred. Because knowing that we have limited mornings is what gives each one meaning. We wake, we breathe, we love, we create, not because we're guaranteed tomorrow, but because we're blessed with now. I looked at the horizon, the light slowly fading, and whispered to myself, live what matters. Forgive faster, speak truth. Do the hard thing first. Love deeply and without fear. And when the next sunrise comes, rise with it, not to chase the world, but to meet yourself again, more whole